Hello, gorgeous soul, and welcome to this epic podcast. This is a place where you are encouraged and you have absolute freaking permission to unapologetically go after all of your dreams, all of your visions, all of your things on your vision board, like everything that your heart desires. I'm your host, Angharad, the High Vibe Babe, and I believe that we're all in this life to expand and experience our wildest dreams. If one of us can have it, then we all can. So that is the aim of this podcast. Each week I'll either be going solo or have guests with the aim to inspire, uplift you and give you the tools for you to live your most epic AF life and business possible. You can find me on Instagram with the handle @HighVibeBabe. Now let's get into today's episode.
Hello babes, Angharad here, Hi Vibe Babe. I am announcing something so massive right now. Like so incredibly massive. This has been wanting to come through for quite a few months, and I will actually tell you the story about how it happened. Basically, I had a download that I needed to add a projector to my team, and at the time I didn't really know how or why or what would happen, but you know, being a manifestor and the urge to just let it sit and till the rest of the download sort of came through. And over lockdown during COVID, I realized that my next level self would be adding the projector to my team like right now. And she would be offering services in regards to human design readings because, as you know, I launched human design readings in June and got fully booked out very quickly, and then opened some space in July, and same thing kept on happening. So my bookings were incredible, and I've really enjoyed doing the human design readings for you ladies, and it became very apparent this was a great way for my business to expand so I can serve more of you. So basically I put a thing out on my stories, like I did an Instagram story, and I was like, hey, I'm looking for a projector to add to my team to do human design readings. And this lovely lady is now officially on this podcast. I'm going to introduce her now. This is Katie Baier, and here she is. Do you want to introduce yourself, Katie?
Hello, beautiful babes. I'm Katie. I am from the United States in the state of Minnesota. I am a 5/1 projector, and I fell in love with human design, and with the projector, I meant to just basically master a system, and human design is definitely my system. So I am here to just be the guide, be able to see into your soul and your aura and provide you with all the sexy details that you want to know about yourself.
I love that so much. And that's like literally the reason why I wanted a projector on my team, is because just the way you're able to see people and know people is so magical. And so when I was imagining having someone else on my team doing human design readings, I was like, it has to be a projector, like 100%. So do you want to explain a little bit about why this felt really aligned to you, and like what sort of led you to this, I guess?
Yeah. So, I mean, being a projector, I've always, I grew up basically being conditioned as a generator, right? Like the go-getter, the doer, never resting, always having to prove myself and get things done. And just like never really understanding myself on that level. I really dove into spirituality a couple years ago and just started touching the surface on, what it meant to be kind of a spirit having a human experience and not the other way around. And human design just kind of like fell into my lap, right? It was all about the divine path for me. And the more that I dove into spirituality, the more I understood that I'm here for a greater purpose. I've always been the one that people come to for guidance, for advice, to kind of see things differently. They always come to me for a different perspective. And I always just kind of thought like, oh, that's just who I am. And so when human design came into my life, it just really gave me that reassurance and that tool that I am truly on my path, and I am not meant to kind of like be the doer and to overwork myself, and I'm really meant to guide and to lean back and to be that person that can really see into the other, right? So I have this natural ability to really penetrate others' aura and be able to see like what's truly not working for them and how they can step into alignment. And these things happen in a simple conversation. I kid you not. Like with friends, with family, with coworkers, like people just walk away like, huh, wow. Like just having those like moments. And after doing, some readings and really understanding like how human design can help me and can help others, I just knew that this is such a powerful tool to have in order to help, everybody else kind of feel into their own power and into alignment.
That's so beautiful. And we were talking about this earlier about how I actually know projectors when I meet them, like in real life, because the aura does feel like it's penetrating, right? And it's actually triggering to the point.
Yeah.
But the thing is with triggers, right, is we all know that it's an opportunity for growth. So the reason why, like, obviously with an invitation, which you're obviously following because you understand it, and what have felt the bitchness of not following invitation with talking to people. Obviously people have come to you, and like that's the reason why things change and shift so rapidly, is because you like it's such a massive growth opportunity because of the way your aura works.
And once I love that you bring up the invitation, because I was always the one, I have a defined headspace and I have a defined throat and ajna and whatever else. So I was always speaking my truth. I was always telling people what to do, right? Because I knew what they should be doing in order for them to do it better. But I wasn't waiting for the invitation. And so I was walking away bitter because they didn't want my advice, right? It was that unsolicited advice. And so learning my chart and learning my design really helped me step back and wait for that invitation, wait to have things, come through, or asking like, hey, I might have some advice. Like, are you open to hearing this? And that truly changed the dynamic in all of my relationships with my parents, with my siblings, with my husband, like with my friends. It just allowed me to step into my true power just by honoring my strategy, right? And that's the most beautiful thing. And that's what we dive into right away, is that strategy, like how you're meant to literally like be in the world. And once you can truly step into that, into alignment and feel your power, I mean, I can't tell you how your world changes. It's so empowering. I just love it so much.
I absolutely totally agree. And so we actually met in our human design certification with Amy Allchurch, Aligned by Design. And one of the things that she says, and I totally agree with, it's like the basic principles, right? That's the most important piece, our energy type, strategy, authority, and our not self thing, right? So those are the most important things. And I think for me, like in my journey, and I think you're resonating with this too, being a projector, right? For me, the strategy was something that I overlooked massively. Like for me as a manifestor, like you have to start describing your invitation, like waiting for invitation. I see that with projectors that I have coached before and I've done readings for, the invitation is a very significant thing. But for me, like as a manifestor, I would find I naturally would actually respond. So when people would bring ideas to me about my business or ideas about like these different things, I'd be like, yeah, that sounds good, and go and do it. But all I've done is use my head. Even sometimes like I'd feel like it would be a splenic yes, but it really wasn't as powerful as when I actually just listened to my strategy, which is just to go and initiate, to inform, to go and do the things that I just, getting that urge as a manifestor it's so imperative. And it's something that it was probably the piece that I resisted aligning with the most out of all of the things within my human design, to be honest.
I think that's so beautiful too, because the manifestors are really like, I think one of the most misunderstood types as well. The amazing thing I love about manifestors is their urges are literally divine downloads, right? So you have this innate ability to like pull from the universe, and these are coming to you, and they're really meant to just be like initiated right away, right? These urges you're meant to just go and do. But I think we're often conditioned to like think about it. How, what, when, where, and then we get lost and we end up not even speaking it out, right? The ideas, the downloads, they just end up sitting with us because we're so conditioned to like have everything figured out. Whereas like you as the manifestor, like you're just supposed to do it, right? Like, let's just flow, let's just go. It's amazing. There's so much inspiration and just deeply intuitive knowings from the manifestors that it's mind blowing, right? Your aura is just so big that I love it. It's amazing.
Thank you. It's so amazing to be reflected back in someone else's words. This is exactly what we're offering within human design, within the Hi Bye Babe brand. But, to hear someone else reflect back your truth of how you're soul's energetic DNA works, how your energy moves through your body, how you're meant to make decisions, how you decide what's aligned for you, and how you can really trust your intuition and your processes. And like, I think also as women, like, this is certainly my story. I was led to believe through conditioning that being a woman isn't as powerful as being a man, that we aren't as trustworthy with our decisions because we have emotions and we have a cycle, and it means we have a period, and so we're a bitch for a week of the month or whatever, like that, really, really conditioned that we don't have as much power. And so when we understand our human design, and we are deeply intuitive, especially as manifestors, projectors, and with an open head. There's a lot of different, or defined spleen. There's a lot of different areas where our spiritual gifts come through, which actually I would love to quickly change the subject quickly, because our spiritual gifts are so similar. Oh my gosh. And we haven't really talked about this much. So I would love for you to actually just quickly take over quickly and tell me a little about your spiritual journey, actually, because like you do Akashic readings and everything too, don't you?
Yeah. So I've had a few spiritual awakenings. I would say the first one kind of started in my early 20s. It was just this like deep intuitive knowing that, there was something more, and I could literally, like, I think this is where like my human design started coming out without me even knowing it. I could literally feel the energy of the room, the dynamic of people. And I started to really get affected by this. And this is kind of where I like dove into like the empathic, right? Like being able to absorb others' energies. And I just thought that I was sensitive. So, going through college and then having kind of a reawakening just over this past year, like one of the biggest awakenings that I've had, finding human design, leading me into the Akashic records, being able to tap into that fifth dimensional energy for others. I've also done Reiki healings where I can tap into other people's energy from, across the world if I wanted to, because we all know that energy, it travels throughout time and space. In fact, time doesn't even exist, right? It's a human concept that's placed, but you can touch people from all aspects of time. And when you literally go into the records, you can go into all the other lifetimes of the soul that you're connecting with, because the fifth dimension, it operates on all dimensions, on all timelines. And just the beauty of helping people kind of understand like what their spiritual gifts are, maybe where their soul originated from, what blocks that they may have that's still in their records that they might be working through lifetime after lifetime. Just this deep ability to tap into other people's energy has been life transforming for me. And I think that's where like human design wraps it all into one, because as you know, the Akashic records are across all lifetimes, right? So you're getting your soul's information across lifetimes. But human design really narrows it down to this specific lifetime, right? When you came into Earth specifically now, and kind of your purpose within this life, like how you're meant to kind of live that out and what that looks like. So I think that gives people a little more, I don't know, empowerment, right? Like what you're designed to be here and now, with that same ability to kind of clear out past karma at the same time. So yeah, when I dive into human design charts, when I get your information, I'm reading your soul and I'm seeing your soul on that energetic level. I can literally feel the information that I'm delivering. And it's almost as if I'm connecting with your soul energetically, without us even having to be in the same room, which is so amazing. And I can't even explain to you what that feels like, but it's just so, I know that this is my purpose, right? Like my soul just lights on fire when I do it.
I love all of the things, and I totally agree with you connecting with souls energetically without even being in the same room. So you've already done some human design readings for some of my clients, and I've listened to them, and you knew nothing about these people, and I'm like, oh my gosh, yup. And this isn't just, this is exactly how human design works. No matter what, it's like, arriving in Spain and hearing everyone talk Spanish, and eventually you finally find someone who's speaking English, and you're like, oh my gosh, you understand me on such a level that no one else ever has before, right? human design is so unique and amazing. And if you're here listening to this, you probably already know about human design anyway. So it feels like a massive coming home. Like that's the best way to describe it for me. It's like you were lost and now you're found and now you're home and someone gets you. And it's so profound when you hear someone like do a human design reading for you. I cannot explain it in any real human words except that it changes your life forever.
Yeah, 100%. And I truly think it brings your soul like to the forefront, right? It's like that soul recognition, soul to soul. And when I'm doing the design, I'm really speaking to your soul, right? Like you're diving deeper into those like unconscious levels of yourself. And it's kind of bringing that back online. So you walk away really feeling seen and heard from not only your human self, but also your soul self. And it's just this profound way of like coming back home to yourself, right? Like figuring out who you really are because you already know who you are. It's just that remembrance and having somebody help guide you back home to who you are.
Oh, I love that. And like the big thing about human design is like it's in the integration, right? And so we've got areas to decondition because the way we're raised or the things we've absorbed continuously our whole entire life. So there's, deconditioning our centers and the way we've thought and the way we make decisions. Like for me, one of the things that I was really conditioned for is to like sleep on the decision. For a splenic authority, that is the worst thing you could possibly do. Because a few moments after you've got the answer, straight away after that, all you have is fear. So to sleep on it just exacerbates all of the fear. So, there's so many things in human design and how we really work when we do human design readings is we offer you so much integration into your life because we've done so many human design readings. We understand you. We understand how your design type works. We're in integrity with our own design first, and then we're able to lead other people through their alignment and through their conditioning. So there's a lot of information based, but a lot of it is there's also coaching elements to it as well because we're teaching you how to decondition and how to move through things and how to really integrate it in a really deep way into your life.
I love that. Yeah, absolutely. And like you talk about like decision making, I was the complete opposite. I was conditioned to make decisions like that, like on the fly. And being an emotional authority, I'm literally meant to sit on it, to sleep on it, to like wait it out. And I had so much shame and guilt around having emotions. I was too emotional, right? And so having these conditioned feelings, if I would have known this when I was a child, there would have been so much less, deconditioning to do now, and vice versa with parenting. If you're a mother, if you're a father, having this information as a tool to parent, I can't tell you how profound that is because you can truly see and hear and recognize and allow your children to grow into the design that they are meant to be, right? The energetics of who they are. And so that coaching element that you talked about is so important because you're literally taking this information and it's not just information. It's actually stuff that you can integrate into your life. So you're using it as a tool to really change the dynamics of your relationships with yourself and your relationships with others. And that in itself is just, outrageous, right? Like so profound.
I totally agree. Outrageous is a great description for that, actually. Outrageously radical. It's just, it's absolutely incredible. And one of the things that we actually are offering is Katie is going to be doing personal human design readings. So they're 45 minutes long and they're recorded. And there's a question sheet you fill out. So you really get to guide what areas of your life you would like some integration, information and coaching about. So basically you get to, filter the lenses that the whole human design reading is based on. And then we're also offering relationship ones. So like romantic relationships and also parenting or family dynamics as well. And they're going to be 75 minutes and recorded as well. So would you like to talk a little bit about those, Katie?
Yeah, so the personal relationships are basically what we've been talking about. We'll go through and we'll kind of go over like the main areas that we had talked about. We want to really get to know your energy type, your strategy, your authority. And then we also dive into your centers. And if you've never read a human design chart, you'll have kind of like if you're a reflector, you don't have any colored in on your chart, which is really unique. But you'll have different centers that are colored in or defined, and white, which are undefined. So we'll go through that, and we'll really talk about what it means to live in alignment within each of those centers, and also what it means to live in alignment with your energy type. So really deeply integrating, that strategy and authority is going to be kind of that number one. And we'll also touch over, any like main gates that might be coming out based on kind of what you're looking for. When you talk about if there's certain areas of your life that you're struggling with, or certain questions that you're looking for answers for, we can pull that through in your chart and integrate that in the way that we design the readings. So with the parenting or relationship types, this is really profound because, first, once you get to know yourself, you can start to understand others once you can see their chart. But with the relationship piece is not only can you understand your partner, but if you have children, like I talked about before, you can help them really just like own who they are, and allow them, to speak their own truth and operate on their own energy levels and be able to guide them in a way that is so profound and just allows them to grow into the person that they're meant to be, instead of trying to make them into somebody who you think they should be, right? Because I think we've all been parented in a way, and there's nothing against our parents. They knew what they knew in order to raise us, right? They knew what was best for them and what they knew in the moment. But when you have more information, you're able to do better, right? The more you know, the better you do.
Mm-hmm.
And so having this information, it really just like enhances your relationship with your spouse, because you can truly understand like how they operate and how they're meant to make decisions and what their energy types are. So for instance, if, my husband is a generator, he is meant to go, 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 and I am a projector. I just don't have the natural life force energy that he does. And so I was always trying to keep up with him before I understood my design. And now I'm able to have this like candid conversation where he knows that I need to go to bed early, or that, I don't have the energy just to go as long as he does. And it's just this like mutual understanding, like we can honor our differences, but we can also honor the strengths within our charts as well. So it's just a beautiful dance that you can have with people, in all your relationships, that you just get to understand them on such a deep level. And it's, something I can't really put words to at how profound that is.
I think you've worded it beautifully. And once we do understand ourselves and we're aligning with our design, it's a natural evolution. We're gonna want to know about everyone in our life. Like we're gonna want to know, someone we like. Literally, my hairdresser, when I met her, I was like, oh my gosh, I love you so much. I have to. Do you know your birth time? And she's like, I do. And we're like sitting there the very first time we meet, looking up our human design chart, seeing how her energy is moving, explain to her what a projector means. She was a projector. And like, just, it becomes like this thirst for knowledge to understand people on that level. So, it's a natural progression, because it's just, once you go there, you'll never go back.
100%. And it comes into play in every part of your life, right? If you ever face a challenge, you can always go back to be like, okay, what part of me is this coming through? What center am I working through right now? Or where am I not in alignment? And like, I've literally had these conversations with my sisters, and I pulled their chart and I'm like, okay, this is what it looks like. And she's like, oh my God, like, I didn't even like tell you the whole story. Like, how do you know that? And I'm like, because I can see like where the patterning is coming from, right? Like where you're expressing kind of that non-self theme in this gate or in this center. And it's just that complete aha where they can take a step back and really turn into yourself. Because anything that you do, you always want to work on yourself first, right? We never want to blame. We never want to project anything out externally. It's always inside of us. And so when we can truly take responsibility, like radical responsibility of understanding ourselves and our challenges that we're facing and why, we never have to look outside of us again, right? It's all about us. It's just so beautiful.
Yeah, I do totally agree with that. And one of the things that I'd love to talk for you to talk a little bit about, and I'm just going to touch on it briefly as well for me. So we were just discussing before about how human design has helped us in our romantic relationships. So I learned about human design, I'm not even sure on the timeline, 2-ish years ago. Ish is a very vague, within 6 months. So, 2-ish years ago. And it has enabled me, like, first by learning my human design, aligning with my human design, realizing, I've said this before, my brand is called High Vibe Babe, but I used to be the Psycho Babe because I was so angry. My not self theme was so prevalent in my life. But anyway, understanding myself first and aligning and deconditioning and really finding my power. And it enabled me to then lead my husband and understand him and communicate with him in a way. So we have a generator manifest zone dynamic. So he's a sacral authority generator. So it's little things like for me. So, I've been with my husband at this point for nearly 13 years. So, we've been together a long time. And so through that time, I used to get very frustrated with him just being like, It used to drive me absolutely insane. And to this day, still it's something that, I would prefer to not be communicated that way, but that is how he works. And so basically through human design, we're able to evolve our marriage, and it's really flourishing now because we both understand our human design, and we've deconditioned and removed these weird expectations, wanting him to make a big string download of how he's been feeling today. It's just not how he's going to communicate. So how has human design affected you, and what do you like to discuss, and what's with romantic relationships, what's been your experience, and how do you like to express and what's been happening for you?
Yeah, so my husband and I have only been married since December. So we're newly married. We've been in a relationship for about 3.5 years now. And human design really came into my life just this past year. So I'm fairly new to the system, but like I said before, truly diving in and integrating it. I am a 5/1, so yeah. I love to gather information. Yeah. That's what I'm all about. And having a defined headspace too, I have that natural innate ability of kind of inspiring and taking that and integrating it. But anyways, with my husband, I think the biggest thing was for me to understand kind of what his authority was, like you had talked about, the sacral or and learning how to ask questions in a way that was a yes or no question, right? And knowing that I wasn't going to get the answer if they were open-ended questions, because it was a lot of well, I don't know, and that would get me frustrated, right? And so I'm actually I still work on this too. It's always a work in progress, because there's sometimes when I don't ask a yes or no, and then I'm oh shoot, I should have reworded that a different way. But I think the really interesting part too is diving into he has a defined spleen and mine is undefined, so I can really pick up on his intuition. And just the fear gates out of his spleen is kind of something that I've really dove into to really understand why he does what he does and what he doesn't do, why he holds back. So there's a lot of that fear of the past repeating itself, and fear of the future, and fear of authority, and there's so many fears that are wrapped up, and it causes him to just not kind of know fully where to go or what to do, because he's allowing those fears to really take over and hold him back. In addition with that, that undefined G center, right? Not having this feeling where he doesn't truly, I feel he doesn't know exactly what he wants. And most of our centers are complete opposite. So I know exactly who I am and what I want. And, I'm just this big, bold projector that just wants to have these really deep conversations. And he's more of that reserved. But yeah, it's just a really interesting dynamic, mostly on the energy type and that intuitive side of things. And also me being that projector and being able to see into his aura, I think is really intimidating at times. But no, honestly, just the dynamic of getting to know how our energy levels or our energy types work together with each other That's been the biggest aha for me, and knowing how he makes decisions based on and having him understand that I'm an emotional authority as well. So it takes me a little longer, and it took a little time to get to know that. But now that we're kind of on the same page, it's like, okay, like, have you had time to think about this or that? So yeah, it's been amazing. And like I had mentioned before, the relationship dynamic with my sisters, there's a couple other of, I have 4 sisters. So there's 5 of us girls. And 2 of them are projectors as well. So it's really cool. They're self-projected. So they always need to call me to talk it out, because being self-projected, you just need to like hear yourself come to your own conclusion. So just being able to be that like guide and offer, any sort of insight that I'm invited to has been just really amazing.
When we met each other and discussed, I'm also one of 5 as well, and there's 4 girls and 1 boy in the middle of us, so there's more similarities there. And also us both having that defined G center, like that DG center. Oh my gosh, like I find that so powerful, and I'm honestly so thankful. Out of all the centers in my chart, I am the most thankful for that one, because it's something I resonate with so much. It's like really knowing who I am and that drive. Like it's really powerful, and just I absolutely love how that expresses into my life.
100%. Yeah, I love everything about the G Center, especially the gates of love. I don't know if you have looked at the gates on yours, but like gate number 10 is the gate of self-love, and then the gate 25 is the gate of like oneness. So having like that universal love. And these are something that I've really worked through in my life, just to try and like I feel like there's been a lot of conditioning around not loving yourself, right? Like if you've had a parent that has really struggled with self-love, like you're conditioned to not love yourself, or to people please so people love you. So yeah, this center has been so amazing, and it's really that energetic like heart space, right? Like you have your heart center, but this is truly that center of love. So yeah, I agree. That's my favorite center as well.
I also do have that channel 10 as well for the self-love. So definitely resonate with that. And it's, really, I mean, I know a little bit about astrology as well. And so for me personally, my North Node is like all about me and my self-love. So it makes so much sense that, the way I've done business and the way everything's happened within my life, it was me leading myself first. And I think it's always about that. It's always about us going first. And, and like, because you're an emotional authority as well, like you're really here to have so much emotional intelligence, and so much about emotions, like way more than I could ever grasp, because I'm undefined. And this is something that, I think probably emotions, and we sort of touched on that earlier as well, like emotions is one of those things that I think a lot of us haven't probably been raised to understand. And we're now raising kids who understand. Both of my kids are emotional authority, so now raising a completely different generation where they get to understand themselves and their emotions and be emotionally intelligent and all the things, and really have a safe place for all of that to come out and play, and like to show them the way they're meant to express and experience life. So I'm really, really excited for you to be able to do human design readings for emotional authorities, because there are so many different dynamics within just that one part of being an emotional authority.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That could be a whole reading in itself, right? Like just going into the emotional authority. But yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think emotions have been so suppressed through the years. We've been conditioned to not feel, to not express our feelings, to hold it all in, to accept it. And we're entering into this new age that we're really changing the dynamics of what emotions look like, and really releasing the shame and the guilt, and feeling into what those waves might feel like. So as an emotional authority, you're really meant to just like ride the waves. And based on which gates and channels are defined in that center, this happens through patterning. And I can't tell you like the ahas that when I go through the authority with emotional authorities and I talk about the waves, they're like, oh my gosh, that makes so much sense. Like, that's all if so for instance, the tribal wave, it's like a buildup. So it's all these little things that might not mean anything at all, and so you don't say anything, right? Like maybe the dishwasher wasn't loaded correctly, and that like got under your skin, and all these things, and they build up to a big explosion. And oftentimes the explosion is over, like what they say, spilt milk. You cried over spilt milk.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really nothing. Like you're exploding over this little thing, but in reality, it's this patterning of suppress, 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 suppress until you can't suppress anymore, and it just explodes. And so once people are able to become aware of their like patterns and aware of their emotions, they're able to really just like sit with them and feel them and see them and honor them and know that they are not their feelings. And I think that's what happens is we often like correlate ourselves with being these feelings, and it makes us feel shame about ourselves. But it is who we are, right? Your emotions just are. And so when you can sit with them and really be with them, something beautiful happens, and you're able to just like release any of that old patterning and really step into honoring that emotion and honoring the wave.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I love being able to talk to emotional authorities, because I think just like taking your power back and feeling that deep confidence in your emotional intelligence and the way that you can make decisions based on your emotions and really truly getting out of your head, that's the biggest thing too, is we slip into our headspace and we overthink everything. And we think we need to make decisions based out of our head, but really it's making decisions based out of our heart, out of our emotions. That's so powerful.
Oh my gosh, yes. And isn't that like one of the biggest deconditioning things you could do as any person, but especially as an emotional authority, because we're told that making a decision, when emotions are high, intelligence is low, right? It's not to say that that isn't true. You are going to wait till you're around your chemical zero, but it's actually your power. Your emotions are your power. It's incredible and beautiful, but we have to embrace it and stop running away from them.
Yeah, absolutely. And once you can really like hold your emotions and your power, I mean, you just become unstoppable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like there's nothing that can shake you anymore, because you have total control over what that looks like. You're able to sit and feel and not let your emotions define who you are. And just that awareness, and that's I think what human design is all about too. Just the awareness of this is so empowering, and it just allows you to not react, right? You're able to like sit back and harness that and respond in a way that's in alignment rather than react out of your like frantic emotions. You know what I mean? Like I just think back about all the times where it just like goes crazy, right? Like you had talked about like your anger, the not self theme, like these things are real. And when we can sit with them and really know what they are and become aware, I mean, that's when we take our power back. And that's what human design is all about. Stepping into that powerful, confident self that you're really, truly meant to be.
Yes, queen. Hell yes. Definitely. And yeah, emotional intelligence and emotional mastery is something that is huge. It's absolutely huge. It's a big power that we get from understanding our human design. Like you said, there's a not self theme, there's our even in self theme feeling, and then whether you're emotional authority or not, you still have emotions if you don't have an emotional authority. But with that center, for me, it's been about, the easiest way to describe it is like it's like de-shelling, basically, like on a regular basis, other people's emotions from that center so that I can feel what my emotions feel like. And for me, like, I've experienced quite a bit of grief in my lifetime. So like deep despair for me, when it's just my emotions, feels like a peaceful despair. It feels like a peaceful depression, or like it's very calm. Whereas when I'm feeling someone else's emotions, it's very much, it's like an anxious thing. Like I want to go and do something about it. I want to go and talk about it. I want to cry. I want to scream. I want to go and do the kitchen. I want to help someone. I want to go and clean their house. It's almost like anxious anxiety, because it's like a system overload. So it feels like I need to transmute the energy, right? And that's basically what we're trying to do by any of these forms of things. We're trying to transmute the energy to try and, flush it through our system, because it's not even ours. It's like a system overload. So no matter what, there's a lot of emotional intelligence and emotional mastery that we teach through human design.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yay. Okay. So, oh my goodness. Okay. So if you would like to continue to get to know Katie better, then she's going to be hanging out my Instagram stories a little bit. So if you come and follow us over on Instagram at Hi Bye Babe, also even in my Facebook group as well, which is called Hi Bye Babes Community. And I'm really excited for you to get to know her better, and you're more than welcome to reach out in the DMs and have a chat about, booking with her. So there'll be links if you would like to book a human design reading with Katie. So there's the two different types. There's the personal and the relationships one. And the relationships one, has a few different dynamics, whether it's like romantic or dating, which is the same sort of thing, but still, or like parenting, or even you and your mother, for instance, like any sort of relationship dynamics. So those are 75 minutes and they're recorded. But obviously, if you're booking it for a family with 5 people in it, you're not going to get as much information as you would with, just you and your one son, for instance, if you know what I mean. But there's still going to be like a lot of integration opportunities there for you and your family. So yes, so they are recorded. So you get them within 7 days of the day you book and pay. You will get that sent to you on your email within 7 days of you booking it. We will be probably rolling out some live opportunities to do some live sessions with Katie. If you would like, you are more than welcome to invite this projector, being Katie, if you would like to do some live readings. So feel free to message us if you would like some more information about that, or you just like, I want this right now, then feel free to send us a message. And yeah, I'm just really, I am still doing the business intensive human design readings. So those will still be available as well. And those are 75 minutes. Those are live calls and recorded and sent to you as well. And yes, this is pretty much us. And we're really excited to get to know you better and to be able to offer this within my brand and to continue to evolve and expand and be able to serve you in new, exciting ways. And yes, thank you so much, Katie, for coming on. And we will be connecting everywhere all the time from now.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I am just so pumped to be a part of this team and to be partnering with you as a manifester. And I think this is just going to be so beautiful, and I can't wait.
Hey, thank you so much. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for being here. We will see you very soon. Bye.
If you have enjoyed this episode, I would adore if you would screenshot it, chuck it up on your stories with your favorite takeaway moment, and tag me at Hi Bye Babe on Instagram so that more people can see this and get this content and get this message out there to really shape and change and impact other people's lives. Do you desire to be around more high vibe women who really get you, who encourage you, who support you no matter what? Yeah, well, guess what? I have a place that you belong. It is called Hi Vibe Babes Community. It is a free Facebook group, and I would love to have you in there. There are so many free trainings and epicness in this group, so please get your booty in there. It would mean the world if you would subscribe to this podcast, do the reviews, the rating, the stars, all of the things. Thank you so much for being here. I cannot wait to chat with you on the next episode. I'm sending you all of the vibes and all of the love. Over and out from Angharad, the Hi Vibe Babe.